was up a tree and he was kind of lingering in that area, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the reports from the kind of guys to the south of us where the action went down, I'm fairly certain said that he did steal a kill from her. So yeah, I'm not too sure what his status is regarding hunger, proud cat mama. I don't think I've actually really seen Tingana stalking or hunting too much. It's something that I'm hoping is going to happen at some time during my stint here in the Sabi Sands. I'm already beginning to kind of start counting my days, or at least thinking about it, because time flies out here, and before I know it, I'm going to be back up in the Masai Mara, where we will not have the joy of spending so much time with leopards, but I guess I will have the joy of spending time with cheetah again, so certainly not a bad situation to be in. Matt, you would like to know if it is confirmed that Kuchava is pregnant. I'm not 100% sure personally, but I think multiple sources believe that she is. I think Tristan said she was seen mating quite recently. Noelle seemed to say that she was heavily pregnant when she saw her the other day, or at least from reports from other guides. So it does seem to be word on the Bush Telegraph. But to be honest, Mark, I mean, I think it can be quite difficult quite often to tell when some of the predators are pregnant until right at the end stages. I personally wouldn't consider myself an expert because they give birth to such tiny underdeveloped youngsters. They don't their bellies don't protrude nearly as much as a lot of the herbivores. It's definitely not as easy and to find a bump on the belly, but it seems like that is the case. What got your attention to the side there? Now, for those of you who just joined, and also for those of you who were with us earlier, there was a family of warthogs that came running across the road, probably only about 60 meters away from him. They could have possibly run straight into him if they had just been 60 meters further down the road. And isn't it fascinating how such a small kind of chance of fate helped definitely increase the likelihood of those warthog piglets making it surviving to adulthood, is what I wanted to say. And he actually had no idea that they went running past. He definitely, I think, would have got up and made the most of that opportunity. It seems like leopards seriously enjoy trying to catch young warthog piglets, and the nice thing for leopards is that they can almost hunt in a little bit of a different nature. I've noticed when they hunt warthogs, they can just run after them from a distance, because the piglets aren't hugely fast over a long distance, and because they often panic, it can be easy enough for the leopards to kind of separate them. And I think some of the longest chases that leopards will make will be after young warthogs. We saw Hosanna nearly catch one. I saw Tundi catch one after hours, and it all happened so quickly that we couldn't go live to share the action with you. But she must have run about, I would say, 70 meters before she caught it. Hosanna nearly caught one after about a 100-meter dash. And ordinarily, their sprints will be 15 meters, 20 meters at the max. Oh, tricky question from Emma. You would like to know, what is my favorite physical feature about a leopard? You love their eyes. I do also love their eyes. I also enjoy all the little spots now that he's facing us between those eyes. So from the kind of all up his forehead, from between his eyes, all those small dots dotted together are quite impressive. On the big males, I do love their big solid chests and the dewlap that hangs down below the throats. Definitely more evident when he's on the move, and it will become more pronounced as he gets older, but you can see that big flap of skin there, and that is the sign of a big boy indeed. Now, for those of you who like taking screenshots, be ready at any point in time, because I've got a feeling, even though it looks like he's slipping into another coma, that he could let off a yawn at any moment. and it'll be a wonderful opportunity for you guys to capture some screenshots. If you don't know how to take a screenshot, I would urge you guys to find out how to on whatever device you're watching on, because it is a great way to document what goes on safari, and gives you also something extra to do. Try and get some good snaps whilst we take you along. Now, something to bear in mind, and what's very fortunate about our situation here, is that we aren't quite eye level, but we're not too far off. We parked the hill that the road that we're on is on a bit of a slope, and we are definitely below him. And he's kind of elevated up on that small mitre drain which runs up the side, and as Senzo zooms out you get an idea of the kind of pitch of the road and how lucky our angle is, and it makes such a difference when filming wildlife to try and be on their low level. So a good opportunity for screenshots. Is he going to yawn again? You can see my camera's ready and poised, so I'm anticipating good things from him. JB, you'd like to know the best ways to distinguish between a leopard and a jaguar, and the continent you find them on is a good start. So we don't actually get jaguars in Africa. They are specific to South America, and they are ordinarily far larger than leopards, so it's basically a bigger version of this animal. The rosettes, the kind of black dotted circles with caramel kind of centers, which we can't see any on this side of the body. They usually, you can see a few on the side of his body there. Those are far larger, probably about the size of the palm of your hand, or maybe even bigger, whereas on the leopards the rosettes are far smaller. In my opinion, jaguars also look a little bit more thuggish than leopards. They've got a bigger head, and they look a little bit more gangster-like, in my opinion, kind of like a big old male leopard would. So I don't think they're as petite as a leopard. So yeah, those are the kind of major differences. They are very similar looking creatures considering, but size will definitely distinguish them, as will the areas that you find them in. Hopefully one day, and I really do hope to do this with all of you, is be going on a live safari through some jaguar infested areas like the Pantanal, where we could be cruising along in a boat following a jaguar hunting the Cayman crocodiles. That would be a serious adventure. So what you can do to help that adventure come true is phone a friend, tell them about Safari Live, and keep spreading the word. Thank you very much. In the meantime, we will be sending you across to Noel.
Scott, I would also give my eye teeth to see jaguars hunting caimans. A friend of a friend went down for a photographic safari to the Pantanal and had some epic sightings of jaguars pulling caimans out the water. And then I had some guests when I was in Zambia who had been on a Pantanal trip earlier in the year, and they were showing me the most amazing photos of jaguars swimming. And yes, I had like small little jealousy tears in the corner of my eye. I would love to do that. So I'm fully on board with Scott. Spread the word. Maybe we make it to the Pantanal, although I think all of us would be fighting to get down there. All right, so we have tried several places for several different cat species. We're not picking up anything on Shadow at the moment, and I haven't had an update on her since the other afternoon when she went into Little Gallery. And then we went looking for the wild dogs. We didn't pick up anything, unfortunately, and so now we are trying Chitwa Dam. We're almost to the dam, and I'm hoping, because it's now warm again, amazingly so, the temperature keeps going up and down, that we get some really nice elephant activity, although our resident raft or pod of hippos is also there, so we might get lucky with the little ones running around and chasing each other, and that's been super fun the past few days. Also keeping my eye out for Kachava on this side, our pregnant Kachava. I'm really hoping that she sort of edges her territory just slightly north and goes into, or she could go slightly east more into Chitwa area so that we're able to follow up on that for longer periods of time for everybody. Sorry for all the bumps. Ferg's holding onto the camera with both hands at the back so that we don't tilt off. There's a little bit of corrugations, especially after this rain, and with this being one of the roads that the transfer vehicles take to get to the lodges, they do come up these little ruts. Now, the rain that we got last night has not really filled any of these pans, sadly. So, yes, let's all hold thumbs and cross fingers. Ooh, zebra. So, Linda, if I'm hearing your question correctly, and Faith, if I didn't hear that correctly, please let me know. You're asking which cat has the strongest force, like grip, out of the cats. I think if that's what I heard correctly. Yes, Linda, I would have to say just from brute strength, it would probably be a lion. I mean, they are much larger. And then, we've got warthogs as well as zebra. Of course, the warthogs are going to run away. Just hold on one second. I just want to position a little bit. And if I'm slow and careful, we will get all of our little species into almost one frame. So we have zebra in the shade with some impala just on our right-hand side. And then just in front, we have some beautiful warthogs with a little piglet. I've just only been starting to see the piglets recently. In the past few days, I know they've been out, and some of them are quite big already. There we go. Little tails in the air. Interesting thing about those tails in the air, when I first started guiding, we were always taught that those must be follow me signals, but now if they run away again, just have a look at where the tail is and the tip of the tail and where the warthog's eyes are. The warthog's eyes are actually at the bum end of the warthog as opposed to the tail. What that's really meant to do by lifting that tail up like that is, let's say something like a cheetah or a leopard is chasing these warthogs. Cheetah, leopard, and lion all use their claws to hook in to help bring their prey down. And if you have your tail just sort of waggling at the back like that as you're running away and showing your most vulnerable side, it's very easy for a cat to get a claw hooked in there. So that's why they lift their tails straight up as those little arrows. There we go. There, we can see perfectly there. Especially for those little piglets, their heads are very low, so they're definitely not looking at the tip of the tail there. And you can see with the eyes of the warthogs sort of situated sort of up and then to the side, it'd be very difficult. How cute is that little piglet? So a group of warthog, the collective noun is a sounder of warthog. Debbie, you're curious to know if the warthog tush are made out of ivory. They are indeed. Ivory is just dentine, it's your teeth, and so you get different grades of ivory. You get warthog ivory, the hippo tush are also ivory. The elephant ivory, those two front teeth that are their tush, have the highest grade, and that's one of the reasons why they're used. It's also used because it's much larger, but as the elephant populations decrease in certain parts of Africa and the poachers come through, they are doing things like taking out huge amounts of hippo to get that that ivory from those tush, as well as I know people come for warthog and try for them. Now, you can't manipulate it as well as you can with the elephant ivory, but it's still malleable. And a lot of the work that's done with ivory is work that's been done for thousands and thousands of years in cultures like in Japan, for instance. There's people that specialize in making these discs. And so when there was less people that were able to get into larger areas with more numbers of elephant, obviously it wasn't affecting the populations as much. But now there's more humans and easier access to the areas where elephants and hippos and warthogs are. And so that's one of the reasons why those numbers are plummeting. Now, just to the right of these warthogs, we have the zebra that's here in the shade. And I actually notice on one of the hind legs, there's a little bit of a wound. And there's some oxpeckers that keep trying to jump up into that wound. Remember, oxpeckers are more of a parasitic bird, and they tend to want blood in their diet. It's a main part of their diet. And so they're taking they're taking their opportunity to try and get in there and get that blood flow stimulated. There also might be some sort of insects that are busy helping clean out that wound that they're getting out as well. Now, Julia, you want to know if warthogs are endangered. Julia, as far as I know, they're not endangered. It's actually not something I've looked up on the IUCN Red List, but as far as I know, they're not endangered. I've been on a couple of properties where the numbers are lower than they should be, but in general, most of the properties I've worked on, the warthog numbers are actually a bit high for the ecological standpoint of it. So yes, as far as I know, there's no endangered species list there with the warthogs. Now, bush pigs, which are similar to a warthog, which we kind of get here, but not really. It would be a very, very rare sighting to have here. They, in some parts, are, again, there's too many of them, and in a lot of parts, they're a little bit lower in number. Ooh, Mary, good question. I love species questions. So, Mary, you want to know if this species of zebra is the same species found in the Mara. So, this is the plains zebra, Equus quagga, and the one found in the Mara is the Burchell zebra, Equus quagga burchellii. So, the one up in the Mara is a subspecies of this one here. Now, when I started guiding about a decade ago, just over, this was the Burchell zebra, and that one was also the Burchell zebra. And then there was a few things that happened, and one of them was DNA testing with this zebra here that we're looking at, and the extinct quagga, Quagga, that used to occur in South Africa. And they found that the genetic material of what is now the plains zebra was more closely related to that quagga. So it took on the scientific name for that species. And then again, through that testing, and also because geographically this zebra, the plains zebra, and the Burchell zebra can't come into contact with each other, naturally speaking, unnaturally humans can put them together, then and again with the DNA, then the Burchell zebra up in East Africa kept the Burchell's name and became a subspecies of this one here. That's beautiful light on his head. Y'all are going with some good questions today. I'm enjoying them. Alright, as it cools down, the impala and the zebra will start moving out of the shade, and also as the oxpeckers start bothering this male with the wound on the back, they'll start going out of the shade a little bit more. Our warthogs are just sort of meandering around and eating the nice green grass that's growing at the base of this termite mound. And I think our beautiful setting here has given us some really great content, but I'm really feeling like elephants, and I'm really feeling like if we go to Djuma, to Chitwa Dam, we might get some. We might show up and there might be nothing, but I'm getting the elephant vibe at the moment. So I think let's head on over there. I'm just going to turn the vehicle around so that we can keep going that way. Ooh, sorry, there was a vehicle that passed us earlier, and they're just up ahead and looking at something, and I'm going to be a little peeping Tom and see what they might be looking at. Oh, they're looking at more warthog. All right, well, Scott has done such a great job with Tingana this afternoon, so let's head back over to him so that you can get your fill of rosettes, and then we'll let you know what we find at Chitwa Dam.
Well, I hope Noelle gets lucky at the Chitwa Dam. I'm sure she will. There's often so much action going on there. I don't know if I can claim that I've done a whole deal in finding Tingana. It was somebody else who found him. So, stroke of fortune. I guess the only thing we can possibly be commended for is just being patient and sitting here with him. But I think it's one of my favorite things about being part of the Safari Live crew. We are often not pressured to leave sightings, because you guys have the joy of just jumping between vehicles in different places, and therefore it puts us under less pressure to go on the move to keep finding you anything interesting when animals are snoozing. And by investing time with animals, it increases our likelihood immensely of seeing them on the move and doing interesting things. So I am happy to sit here for as long as it takes for him to get active, and if he doesn't get active, so be it. At least we have tried our best to increase our chances of getting to see these big cats on the prowl, which, for those of you who may be new to Safari Live, is few and far between. I mean, our chances of finding them on the move is very slim, considering that on average they'll only move between 4 and 6 hours every day. They spend a lot of time sleeping. but I am confident that before the safari comes to a close, we are going to get to see him on the move. Those are my predictions. Steve, you'd like to know exactly how big is this leopard? And it's a very tricky question to answer, because I don't know of one leopard in the Sabi sands that has been weighed, and I therefore don't really have much to go on. And even if I did know of one individual male that was weighed and therefore I knew his exact weight, it would be difficult to be certain of the weights of other animals. They're all slightly different in size. Some are short and stocky, some are taller and more athletic. So it's tricky to be certain, but he's definitely a big male, and he could be about 100 kilograms in weight. I think it's fair to say that this guy's a fairly average sized specimen, a standard sized specimen for this area. Sometimes you get some absolute brutes and sometimes you get some smaller males, but he seems kind of your average big male size. Oh, Steve, so a comparison that I can give you, he's definitely not as big as a male lion, and also definitely not as big as a lioness. He would be at least 20 or 30 kilograms lighter than your average size lioness. And again, it's just a kind of average guess that we're working on. Each lioness will be different in size, but if you put this guy next to a lioness, he'd be far smaller, and if you put them in a ring together and made them fight it out, he would be the smaller, possibly slightly more agile opponent, whereas the lioness would be bigger, a little bit more powerful, and possibly not quite as quick and agile. Big male lions will weigh in excess of 200 kilograms, Steve, so a far bigger creature than a male leopard. And what's interesting furthermore is that you get some areas in Africa where leopards are quite small. There have been some adult female leopards that are as small as 30 or 40 kilograms. There's quite a few leopards that live in the southern tip of the continent, in the Cape area. The Cederberg leopards, the Cederberg mountain range is quite a well-known area for the Cape leopards. And the Cape leopards, due to the fact I think that they don't have a huge amount of prey in their habitat, means that they have become quite small, because it doesn't pay to be bigger to bring down big prey. It pays to be a little bit smaller and more agile, which puts them in better stead of catching smaller creatures. Now, it could be the wind. The wind is certainly not howling, but the wind is definitely blowing, and it could be that's causing little rustles in the grass, that's causing him to prick up his head, just like he's doing now. I can't be certain. I could just be assuming that it's the wind, and there could be some kind of prey species approaching, but it's very difficult to be certain. His hearing and eyesight are just simply far better than mine, and he's also at a different angle to us, so looking back in his direction that he's looking in, I don't really see much for now, but that could change in a heartbeat. We are in a fairly thick area with lots of undergrowth where prey could pop out at any stage, and as Senzo zooms out now, you get a good idea of that. I think it was Scarlett who was asking, will leopards occasionally get toothache? And yes, I guess it is a reality from time to time. It's not something that I've commonly seen, and more often than not, I think maybe broken teeth from chewing on bones may cause them some discomfort. But it's not something that I've really noticed. Of course, maybe a shard of bone could also get kind of jammed into their jaw at some point, maybe between a tooth, that could become infected and inflamed, but it's not something that I've noticed. I've never really seen a leopard with toothache. It would also possibly be a difficult thing for us to actually diagnose and notice. And I guess, as a general rule, wild animals through the process of elimination and the fact that only the strongest and fittest animals survive, you tend to find genetic weaknesses don't really make it through as much as it does in our species as humans. So you rarely find genetic flaws because those tend to just die out. David, you'd like to know if there's other species of leopard found outside of Africa, and yes, there's a host of different leopards. You get Amur leopards up in Russia in the Amur Mountains, also I think known as snow leopards. You get the clouded leopards in Borneo. You get melanistic leopards, which are the same as these, just black versions thereof. So it's not a different species, but certainly a very different looking beast, the black form of a leopard. I would love to be able to also go on a mission in an area where there is a known black leopard. Imagine if we could organize a safari live adventure where we go and spend a couple of months trying to seek out a black leopard. And what other leopards am I missing off? There are a couple, there are a handful that we do get also outside of Africa. You get leopards that live in Asia that are kind of slight subspecies. So they are quite a widely spread species, and you do get different subspecies of them. Wonderful stuff. Well, we are going to sit tight, and hopefully it's not going to be an afternoon spent with this sleepy cat without any rewards at the end. We've still got lots of time though before the end of the safari, so I'm confident he's going to get up and take us on a stroll. So have happy thoughts with regards to that. For the meantime, you guys are going to be heading off though, and I'll leave it as a surprise as to where you are going.
Scotty, did you not hear who you were supposed to link to? I quite like that. That was very sneaky. Which, it's with me. You can't hear my voice though, so Faith will have to tell you who she sent, who she's gone to next. But it's us, Manu and I, in the howling wind and the golden grass and the beautiful trees. And of course the sun almost ready to set behind the Olololo escarpment. It's going to go down very, very quickly. I think we could be in for quite a nice sunset tonight. There are not too many clouds, just enough. I think that's going to be perfect. And we did find the Angama lions, just by the way, but they're still very, 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 very flat in the grass, and there isn't much to see. This one every now and then pokes its head up, but I think they're going to be resting for most of the day. Or maybe they get up. I suppose it just depends, doesn't it? There isn't any game around them. You can see even on these plains, they're completely bare at the moment, with just the smaller creatures laying quite low. And you might even be able to hear some of those creatures that are laying low, and they're insects. It's an interesting sound, very high pitched. But it is lovely out here. Brenda, you said that this is absolutely breathtaking. It is. It's something that I'm really going to miss, and I will never forget everything about the Mara, but especially the views. They're like nothing I've ever seen before. They really are amazing, and I can't tell you how I know how lucky I am that I get to see this every single day. My favorite though has to be coming down the escarpment road first thing in the morning. The fact that I get to watch the sunrise every single day, except when it's really cloudy. And even then, when it's really cloudy, it's still quite beautiful. That's gorgeous. Look how quickly it's going down. And that's what it's about. Wildlife, the smells, the sights, the humor, the everything. That's what's so cool about going on a safari, is that you can have so many different emotions in just a few short hours. And I think it's so important to take some time to look at the sunset, look at the sunrise, look at the golden grass blow in the wind, all these different things. It's so important to a safari experience. It's about everything. So when people say, can you describe one? It's so hard. Julia, you're wondering if there are ever any night drives? Yes, most certainly. We're going to be going across the river tomorrow, and if there's going to be lots of action. We'll probably stay out quite late, so there'll be lots of action broadcasts. Well, we're hoping there are going to be lots of action broadcasts. So high action, maybe with a cheetah, with lions. Try and find a leopard while we're down there too. And we'll also be showing Rolf the ropes. And then we sometimes stay out all night. Can you believe it? And have a look for all sorts of critters. But unfortunately, the sun's going down so quickly these days, and that we don't always make complete darkness anymore. But winter will come soon and the sun will set much quicker than what it is today. Right, I'm going to send you all the way back down to South Africa with Noelle, and I hope that she's going to entertain you and make you smile the last few days of 2017.
Hello everyone. Alright, we have a beautiful green-backed heron sitting here in the marshes behind Chitwa Dam. Unfortunately, when we got up to the dam, there was a bushwalk going on from Chitwa, so I didn't want to interrupt them, so we've left and we've come around the back. He has been picking up little grubs and other creatures and eating them pretty much out of the mud and enjoying himself. I'm sorry, I can't speak today. He definitely has a personality, that's for sure. Yeah, and then the colors have been coming through. The sky is really nice. The sun poking through when the clouds aren't there. And so we've also just taken a little bit of a beat, and I'm also looking around for Hasana if he happens to be here, or anything else that might be lurking. I can't get all the way into the back there. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too wet.
Can you apologize for the heat haze coming off the front of the car?
What's coming in front of the car, Ferg?
There's a heat haze making the picture.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry there, Faith. I missed that question from Joy. If you wouldn't mind sending it through again. Ferg just wanted me to apologize to everyone. The screen's a little bit fuzzy because there's a heat haze that's coming off the water there, and he just wanted you all to know there's nothing wrong with your screens. That's the heat. Joy, you want to know if this green-backed heron is the same as what you're calling the green heron in North America? Joy, I don't actually know if this green-backed heron is the same as the green heron. I do know some of our plovers, especially a lot of our shorebirds, are similar to parts of America, especially like around Florida, but I'm not sure about that. I can look it up and let you know, which would be interesting to see. Alright, I'm going to have to do a little bit of reversing and meandering out of here, and then we're going to go check the open areas around the backside of Chitwa and see what's potting around there. Maybe check the airship. We know that leopards like that side. It's going to take me a minute or two to get out of here, so you're more than welcome to, unfortunately, stare at the back of my head as I do these little maneuvers. It's a tight little spot here. Let's pull up a little bit on this side. Because of that little bit of rain, it has really filled up nicely, and I really don't feel like getting stuck today. Not seeing any sign of Hasana at all, sadly, or Kachava, sadly. And as we know, our Nkahumas are still busy over there by Elephant Plains, and the sticks are on Little Gowrie. But that doesn't mean that something might not pop up. So Ralph has one of the most beautiful antelope species and one of the most abundant antelope species that you'll see out in the bush. So I think maybe while I'm meandering out of here, let's head back up to him so you can get a glimpse as well.
Thanks, Noel. And yes, we were looking at one of the most abundant animals in the bush, an impala. Yes, thank you, Noel, once again. We were watching an impala, but he disappeared down into the lager, and what we are doing is looking out over the Mara Triangle. It's a lovely view from up here,
and it's been a wonderful day for me at least. I don't know about everybody else, but I have had an absolutely wonderful time sitting with those buffalo to start, and then the elephants, and ending with that seemingly unsuccessful hunt with the lions. But who knows, maybe they're still going to be successful a little bit later. That was just the start of the evening for them, a little bit of the end of the evening for us. But well, that's the way of the wild and the bush. We never know what's going to happen, hey? And just like Taylor was telling you earlier, who I think is just coming past us over here, yep, that's Taylor. Her and I are going to be heading over the river tomorrow, looking for #1 prize being cheetah and possibly even some wild dogs. But I would like to put it to everybody, you can put your beers on who's going to be finding the first cheetah. I think we're going to be swapping cam ops, so it's going to be myself and Manu, and so for me, a new place to be going and exploring, but I'd love for you all to join us tomorrow afternoon as we go heading out once more on the road of discovery in the wild. So heading you off to Scott. Bye everyone, see you tomorrow.
Well, I am very, very excited by the prospects of both Taylor and Ralph taking you guys across the river on an adventure tomorrow. I don't think Ralph's been across there, so also he's in for a treat. It's quite a different experience across that side of the river. The vegetation's quite a lot different. We have the ability to off-road wherever we like, and there is a surplus of cheetah that spend time in that area. So hopefully you guys will be getting your cheetah fix. And who knows, maybe we'll be able to provide you with the big cat trifecta: lion, leopard and cheetah. So certainly exciting prospects. We also have some exciting prospects here, although it doesn't seem like it at the moment with old sleepy Tingana. He's been the sleepiest he's been the whole afternoon for the last 20 minutes, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe he's having one last proper snooze before he gets up and starts patrolling into the sunset. So that's what I'm hoping for. But it's simply impossible to guess as to when he is going to get up and do that. It may be after the end of the safari. That would be a bit sad, but at least we are getting time spent with him. They are incredibly beautiful animals, and I don't know if I'm being a little bit too fickle here, jumping ship too easily, but cheetah were my favorite not so long ago. But now that I've been reminded of the impressiveness of these leopard, I think that leopard are probably going to be my favorite while I'm in the Sabi sands, and if I go back to Kenya, I'll swap to cheetah. I guess they are so different that it's almost not fair to compare them just because they're cats. They're so different, as are the lions. I mean, all three of them are very different, not only in appearance but also in the way they behave, the way they hunt. And it's all of those things, not just their appearance, that makes me make my decision that leopard are my favorite. Hopefully we'll get to see him displaying his hunting skills and stealth. If not today, in the coming weeks. Because they certainly do know how to sneak up to their prey, I think, far better than lion and leopard. Lion and cheetah can. I think these are the masters of stealth. And that's, I guess, mainly because they, unlike cheetah, are not the fastest mammals on the planet, and unlike lion, they often don't, or they never hunt as a group or a pride. Proud cat mama, you're hoping that he's going to be wide awake and have a spring in his step once he wakes up, and who knows, maybe he heard you, proud cat mama. Maybe he agrees that a spring in the step is the appropriate thing for him to do right now. Very good. Well, we are going to send you from one of the local residents of Africa to a tourist who's on vacation.
We do indeed have a tourist bird. This is a European roller. He's just flown down for the summer. So he's more of a bird that likes to have no winter and just summer all year round. So maybe not a tourist, but beautiful blue, 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 and then a little bit of brown on the backside. Now, we had originally stopped because we saw a green pigeon, and then the green pigeon decided not to be seen. So then Ferg spotted this European roller, but now the green pigeon's back. Ah, there we are, and you know how much I love a green pigeon, and it's sitting so beautifully on the branch there, and the colors are really stunningly gorgeous with the sun coming out the way that it is. And they don't usually sit out in the open. Ferg and I have been lucky the last few times we've spotted them. They're usually in thicker vegetation, especially as they like to eat fruits, but I think this one's just being kind to us. Yeah, exactly, Nikki. Nikki's just commenting on how you can see that bluish tinge around the ring of the eye there because this lighting is just so fantastic. And amazingly, he's sitting very still for us, doing a little bit of preening, rearranging his feathers. His other brethren have already flown off. So I believe after he is done preening himself here, he's most likely going to take off. I can also hear them calling in the background. Now, I went past the area where Ferg and I found that nest of over there near the hyena den, but I didn't see it there anymore, so I don't know if maybe in some of the rainstorms it got blown away. But I will keep looking for another green pigeon nest because it would be very neat to watch them with their eggs and then with their hatchlings as well. There's some really good bird calls coming out at the moment. I'm just going to stay quiet and see if we can hear any of them. I'm not sure if we're able to pick up any of those bird noises, and the crickets are also out in force. Joy, you're saying what a pretty bird. Joy, I completely agree with you. It is a stunningly gorgeous bird. Now, all I would like it to do now, after sitting so nicely here, is I just want it to call, because the call of the African green pigeon is one of my favorite calls. My iPad charger has grown legs and wandered off, so I don't have my bird calls to be able to play with you from time to time. We have to rely on the bush itself like we used to do before we had all of these apps. So we will hopefully get a sound out of this one here. Lori, you're saying the bird's feet looks like candy corn. They do look a bit like candy corn. And Ferg's making me laugh so hard. He's saying, Noelle, do it old school and just do the call yourself. Ferg, unfortunately, I am not one of those blessed people that can do mimic bird calls. I'm very horrible with that. It's possibly because I'm slightly tone deaf. Or my close friends would probably say fully tone deaf, Noelle. Don't lie to yourself. There's another little bird that's going to poke its head out shortly. I don't want to leave the green pigeon quite yet. I just want to see if this one will move away from the branch that it's in so we can get a proper ID and also show it on camera. Ooh. Sunny, you're curious to know what my favorite sound is out here in the bush. I love a lion roar, especially when it's close and then we get to track and find it. I really love the sound of an African green pigeon. Gray hornbills as well, I really love that sound. One of my best friends, his favorite sound is a black-crowned jaguar. I don't know if I could pick just one, Sunny. I think I go through little phases, and I think there's a general symphony of calls that we get that are just pleasurable to hear. I don't really enjoy when the red-chested cuckoos come up to my room and call in the middle of the night because they think it's day because there's a light on. Alright, the bird has come out and Ferg has it on camera. It's here just now. on that little branch, and I am actually having trouble IDing this, and I don't know, James Richard, I don't know if you're watching. You're usually good at catching me with birds if I either don't know or if I make a mistake. And I'm not sure if maybe you have an idea with this one here. I'm going to need to ponder this one a little bit, to be honest with you. It looks like it could be a female redback shrike with the way that the head is and the beak and the size of the body, but I'm not 100% with that call at all. We take a couple of screenshots and then see. Joy in Hong Kong, I love you. Ferg, Joy in Hong Kong wants to know, can you do the bird calls?
Yeah, but I'm not the talent.
Oh, Ferg has his hands on his hips and he's saying he can, but he's not the talent, so it's...
I'm not here to take people's thunder.
He's not here to take people's thunder. Ferg, you won't be taking my thunder. Come, do the call. No, it's not going to happen. Sorry, Joy in Hong Kong. We tried. We tried. Ooh, we got a little bit of a hyena call out of Ferg there.
I thought it was a pigeon.
Oh, we're having a cheeky afternoon. Absolutely. Okay, everybody. I think let's go over to Scott. He's got a cat on the move, and I'm sure you would all love to see Tingana meandering about, so let's head on over to him.
Yes, we do. He's about to meander straight past some lucky tourists that have just arrived onto the scene, and they got off to a great start, and so did he. The main reason why is because he is heading in the right direction to stay on our property. Had he have headed this way, we would have to wave him goodbye. Now, we mustn't waste any time. We should get ahead of him while the going's good and get him pacing towards us. I'm sure he's going to continue down a road, and that means we should be able to get in front of him and get some great views. Ooh, hold on, everybody. Oh, I lost my water bottle, but I'll go and fetch it later because this is too good of an opportunity to pass up. Oh no. Actually, we should be able to wiggle our way through here. I was trying to get my water bottle to defrost in the sun on the hood of the car where it's nice and warm. It was a big block of ice and I forgot about it in all the excitement. Ah, good grief. Seems like we've got into a whole network of little erosion gullies here, but we should be able to squeeze our way through here. One or two dead branches are going to be... Oh, I got a little bit of a slap there from the bush. And where shall we wait? I'm sure he's going to continue along this road. And if he does, we are going to get some wonderful, wonderful views. Let's just wait here. Well, let's go a bit further actually. Oh no. Here is good. Let's just be patient. We're going to get some great views from a low angle. He's popping out now. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful big male leopard on the move. Look at this. And it seems like we may have our work cut out for us staying with him. I am in a bit of a conundrum though, because I do need to go and collect my water bottle quickly, so we can't be leaving a big plastic bottle lying around in the bush. So, or is he continuing along another road? It looks like he's continuing on another road, which is great for us. And we'll catch up with him shortly. Okay, while we go on a water bottle rescue mission at the inopportune moment, it is just going to take a second, so... Oh, I can see it. I can see the rebellious water bottle that decided to go for a quick run. Oh Oh yeah, well Noel's got another predator, one of my favorites. It's not as quick as Tingana, but it is very impressive.
He's definitely not as quick as Tingana at all. We had a great view of a chameleon crossing the road the other day, and now we've found you another one. This beautiful flap-neck chameleon. He's all spotted because he's a bit cross. I was driving, and then there he was, and then I stopped in reverse, but obviously he can hear and see me coming. His eyes move independently of each other, so he can see all around, and he's still very slowly making his way across, but amazingly he's not doing what the other one was doing, which is that funny jerking motion where he sort of sways almost like a leaf in the wind. This one's just moving as slowly as possible. Now, a lot of lizards move very quickly over open areas to avoid predation, but with the chameleons we've been seeing, and as you all know, they move very slowly. And I was actually thinking about this the other day after the other chameleon that we showed you, and I was thinking possibly it has to do the slowness of it, not just with trying to avoid predation in their minds, but also with the fact that their toes are fused, so they've got 3 toes that are fused and then 2 that are fused so that they can climb up vegetation more easily, and that might have something to do with their lack of ability to move very, very quickly. But it's just a train of thought, just a little idea that we have. Now, James Richard, you got back to me and said you would agree that it was a female redback shrike. Thank you, James Richard. I appreciate that. I'm also glad I'm not completely losing my mind. That chameleon was fantastic. I think let's keep carrying on in this beautiful sunlight and seeing what we can see. I don't know, we might be able to get another little view of our chameleon. But of course, being a chameleon, he's now extremely camouflaged inside of the little bits of grass here. I'm basically just looking for movement. Ferg's got a keen eye as well, so he might be able to pick him up, but I have a feeling that he's gone over to this tiny, tiny little bloodwood that's growing out of the ground there and hiding himself. He doesn't necessarily want to be seen. All right, little chameleon. Well, at least you gave us quite the show. Kathy, you're asking how fast can they move. That motion that you saw across the road there in open spaces is pretty much as fast as they usually go. They can be a bit quicker, of course, but it's not very quick at all. It is very slow. So their whole deterrence, their main deterrence, I should say, away from predators is the fact that they can change the color of their skin to suit their environment, and it has a lot to do with going from a light green to a white or to a darker green to putting the black dots in to sort of meld, and then sometimes they go a little bit of a brownish color. Yes, this afternoon light, everybody, is absolutely, absolutely stunning. I'm loving it. All right, let's head back to Scott with his moving leopard, and we will keep bumbling around and seeing what we can find for you.
Yes, he is in fact still on the move, and it looks like he may be heading into quite a thick block. There's something that's got his attention there. You can see he's listening, but what exactly he is listening to, I cannot be certain. It's quite thick here, so we just need to be patient, observe from a bit of a distance. And who knows, maybe we'll get lucky and see him on the hunt. Or we could just get lucky and have him continue strolling straight towards us. I'm hoping that is the case. But it seems like he wants to leave the comfort of the road and possibly head deeper into some thick vegetation, which will make our lives a little bit tricky in following him, but it's very exciting business being able to follow these guys on the prowl. Sometimes they shake us off, sometimes we manage to stay with them. Senzo is doing an incredible job in panning through this thick vegetation with them. Well done, Sens. And I think it'll be our best bet to keep moving now. not ready to commit to off-roading just yet. I want to try and stay ahead of him in the hope that if he does come across any prey, we'll be able to be on the kind of opposite end of them, so he chases them towards us. It's always a bit of a lottery, but let's try and keep in front of him, and that way we'll always have the best views of his face as he continues towards us. First lady, you'd like to know how many kids does this big male leopard have? And sheesh, I don't have a clue, but Hosanna is one definite. Tamba, another definite. Kuchava, I think, possibly. Maybe not Kuchava, but I think maybe. Who else is there? Shadow's cubs. Oh, Kuchava's cub could possibly be belonging to Mvula, an old dominant male who was dominant before Tingana came in and chased him off. I think we're in luck here. There's a little termite mound that he could well pop onto here. And if he does, we are going to get spoilt with some wonderful views. He's about to pop onto the scene, and they often flatten themselves as they peek over. Here he comes. Anything to see over there? Look how he flattens his ears. What can you sense in here, Mr. Tingana? What is moving through these thickets that has caught your attention? Because you are looking very, very poised. Absolutely awesome. He's going to come. Oh, he's not going to come anyway. I thought he was going to continue straight past our vehicle, but it's time to do some grooming as he goes. Aren't these just the most epic animals? We've got some dappled afternoon sunlight doing a great job in illuminating his coat. And it looks like he was just going to take a short break. I guess just like us, once we've had a bit of a snooze, it takes a while to get into the full swing of things, and it looks like the same is happening right here. One or two fleas keeping him busy. Where are you going to take us, Tingana? Because this is quite a thick area where I fear we may not actually be able to keep up with him. I'm actually going to have a quick look on my GPS map and cheat a little bit so as to know exactly what the kind of road networks are doing here, because I don't know this area too well. Oof, this is a big block. That's going to be very tricky to stay with him in, but we can try our best. Kathy, you'd like to know if his limp is completely healed, and yes, as far as we can tell, a limp that he had about 2 weeks ago has completely healed. And I mean, it was fascinating to see how much he was nursing in the limp. He would hardly put any pressure on, was it his front left or front right, one of his front limbs, and within a week or two he's managed to fix himself up, and now he's showing off just how agile he is and that there's absolutely nothing wrong with him. Be ready for screenshots. He could let off another big yawn shortly. Come on, one big yawn for everyone before you continue on your patrol. One thing that I can tell you guys, and before I forget to, is that a little bit later on this evening he could well pop up at the Djuma waterhole, where we do have a live dam cam where you guys may get lucky in being able to find him. Oh no, but I've just heard that it may not be working at the moment, so if that's the case, I do apologize for getting excited for possibly no reason. Time for a little toilet break. And oh, well done, one of our technical wizards, Jared, has just fixed it, so at ease, everything is in order and as it should be. Okay, I'm going to have to start moving. It may take us a little while to get into another good spot to view him from again. It looks like he may actually be heading back towards the road, which is a major stroke of fortune. Oopsie. Sankit, you'd like to know if there's specific bird species that will give alarm calls for predators, and yes, there certainly are. The grey go-away birds are one of them. I'm a little bit stuck here. So we'll just have to wait. Yes, grey go-away birds are a good one. A lot of franklins will alarm call. Tiny little birds, rattling cisticolas, guinea fowls. A lot of birds will alarm call when they see leopards. I even noticed that there were some Wahlberg eagles that were on the move. What was I saying? That were on the move, that were alarm calling at, who was it, Tundi, the other day when we were following her after drive in the hope that she would lead us back to her den. So yes, a whole host of birds will alarm at the predators. While we try and get into a better spot, which like I said will take a couple of minutes, we're going to send you back to Noel for an update.
I've never heard of a little bee eater alarm calling at predators. I've definitely heard of that redback shrike alarm calling for predators. But this little bee eater is busy with a mate of his flying around here and catching. There's been dragonflies around, and there's been daytime moths, and there's been some butterflies. Ooh, and then he's off. They're very, very, very quick. And it's not just a little bee eater because he's little. Their actual name is little bee eater. I just want to move the car a little bit because he's managed to... sorry. And then they flew off. Okay, well that wasn't half bad. A little bit of bee eater action there. I'm still waiting for the carmines to show themselves on Djuma. It's, you know, it's about time. I heard some white-fronted the other day, but I still haven't been able to catch them on camera for you, so let's hope that that happens soon. I also heard blue cheek bee eaters, but I was a little bit farther north, so that's not necessarily going to impact us on us here, but I will keep my ears and eyes open, that is for sure. Alright. Our predator search is not going as well as I would like, and our elephant search in lieu of predators is also not going as well as I would like. This rain has definitely spread those elephants out, which happens, of course, as we know, we've discussed it before. So we are going to go try a different area and see if maybe it's more fruitful for either Tundi or possibly some elephants. We'll go check there near the Milwati and see if we can come up with either one of those. Now, I'm hoping that Scott is able to keep up with Tingana. I hear that the bush is very thick where he is, and it's difficult to get around and sort of squeeze in, but I am always hopeful. Just want to check for any tracks that might be going on the cut line up here as well as we hurry up. Paula, very good question. You would like to know if there's any news on Tundi's new den. Scott and I have both looked, and unfortunately we haven't come up with anything yet, and I haven't heard anything from the Djuma guides, but trust me, the minute we know, one of us will definitely be in there. So we will keep you updated as best as we can. Maybe tonight, crossing fingers, holding thumbs, maybe tonight we might get lucky and we might find her and she might take us there. You never know. Although I do have a sneaky suspicion on where I think she's moved it, and I think it's very difficult to get a vehicle in there, if near impossible. But it's just a thought just from where Ferg and I were looking the other day and where she popped up, and then Scott saw her and where she moved away from the den the last time we were with her on Christmas afternoon, and then where the guy saw her walking on Boxing Day morning. But yeah, we will definitely keep you updated as much as we possibly can. And then Tristan eventually will be back, and we all know Tristan's the leopard whisperer, although I have to say Scotty D and myself have not been doing a horrible job whilst he's been away. Alright, and still no tracks. The soil is so nice for tracking right now because of how wet it was, and then it wasn't very warm for most of the day, and the sun wasn't out for most of the day, so it's still nice loose soil. We're going to hit a little bit of signal issue here, so just stand by. Alright, we should be all good there. Now, I'm also waiting for the sun to go down a little bit more because those winged owlites are going to be coming out. And as we know, when the winged owlites, those flying termites, come out, we get a lot of bird activity around those termite mounds. And with this beautiful light, I'm actually hoping that it happens sooner rather than later. Alright, so Scott has managed to get what I think or hope is a magnificent view of Tingana, so let's head back to him so that you all can share in that.
It certainly is. It doesn't get any better than this. Right up on a massive termite mound, well above where we are positioned in the perfect afternoon sunlight. How epic is this? And he's using this big termite mound as a great vantage point to scan for any possible prey. Now that we've seen him on the move for a bit, I can assure you that he could well do with a meal. He is looking quite hungry, and that is why he is not going to forego any opportunities for a meal. Not certain when last he had a snack, but he certainly could do with another one. Look at that! Oh, what an epic angle. Good stuff. Well, I wonder how long he's going to relax over here. Hard to be certain, but I'm guessing he's going to be up and down and backwards, forwards. So we couldn't have asked for a better way to be spending the latter part of this safari. Marvelous. And I'm kind of quite sad I'm going to be leaving soon. Is tomorrow? Tomorrow's my last full day taking you guys. Sleep deprived, I will do my best to take you on an entertaining sunrise safari, but that will be my final contribution, or first and final contribution for 2018 before I head out on a 2-week leave. So that is great news for me. Looking forward to a break in Cape Town. Kaylin, you say that I sound like I'm in love. I think it is fair to say that I am in love with these big cats, and a big male like this in his prime is certainly a kind of prime subject. If one could choose, I think a big male leopard on the prowl would definitely be high up on my list of favorites. B. Cantrell, sadly no, not that's audible to my ears at least. You're wondering if different animals, be it monkeys or birds, will have different alarm calls for different predators, and some people may tell you otherwise. Some people may be able to tell you that they can hear a certain animal is alarming at a specific predator, but I certainly cannot. They all just kind of sound the same to me, so a tricky one. But yeah, at least, you know, a lot of the times you get basically some more reliable animals that can do the alarm calls. Like for me, a vervet monkey, when you hear them alarm calling in the specific area that we're in, there's a strong likelihood that it's A, leopard, or B, lions that they've seen. In other areas where perhaps there are crowned eagles and no leopards, when you hear a monkey alarm calling, well then you know that it's going to be for a bird of prey. So, you know, in this area monkeys are reliable. Squirrels are a good example of an animal that is not a reliable alarm call, because they alarm call at just about everything and anything. So look at this, he was just scent marking, that's why his tail was dipping from side to side. A quite interesting view. And where are you going to take us next? it's interesting, he's kind of crisscrossing and heading back in the direction that he actually came from a little bit earlier. So maybe there is something that he spotted from the elevated termite mound that he was relaxing on. First Lady, you're wondering if Tingana is as big as the Anderson Male Leopard, and I would guess, I mean, I think I only saw Tingana Anderson once or twice, and they were very brief views of him, and it sounds like he could be a bigger individual than him, but I've never, actually I did see them kind of next to one another having a bit of a standoff, but they weren't doing much when I was there. They were just lying in bushes next to one another. So I would say possibly yes, but I can't be entirely sure. Well, it looks like it was a good decision to wait exactly where we were, because he is coming straight back towards us. So he's going to pop into view shortly and possibly pace straight past our vehicle. He's wanting to do a little bit more scent marking. How awesome is that? And I think what he's going to do is head back on to the road that he was pacing down. But I can't be certain at this stage. He's very indecisive, kind of backwards, forwards, in and out. So we're just going to have to be patient, and rather than racing off if we're not kind of certain where he's going to go, it's better to stay put and work out our best plan of attack once he has worked out what his best plan of attack is. Suddenly you would like to know, if I could be a predator, what would I be? It's tricky. I'm quite a sociable person, I like to think, which would kind of force me to be a lion, because they are the only social cats. Although a coalition of male cheetah, that would be an option, have some mates to play around with. So yeah, I mean, either lion or cheetah, but I would love to test drive being in the bodies of all of them. I'd love to be a big male lion tackling a buffalo, and or a leopard being stealthy and creeping right up to their prey, or being a cheetah just hammering it through the open plains of the Masai Mara after a Thompson's gazelle. So, as you can see, I clearly am battling to choose which one, and I've just hedged my bets between all three. Alright, well, there's one or two more vehicles in the sighting with us. I'm just going to let them get into a good spot, and then we will be able to catch back up with this leopard. The other vehicles don't have it as easy as we do when it comes to turning around, because we've got a vehicle that's very maneuverable. Nick, you are wondering when I will be heading back up to the Masai Mara. In theory, I should be heading back up there mid-March. So that is the plan for that. So I'll be spending another 6 weeks in Djuma after this next break that I go on, and thereafter I will be heading to the Mara. Good stuff. We've got a little bit of work to do catching up to him, and I think I might actually try and loop ahead on another road. So while we negotiate all these options, we will be sending you back to Noel.
Alright, thanks Scott. I hope you managed to get another nice visual of Tingana for everybody. We're still just bumbling around and looking for tracks and other interesting things, but actually the most interesting thing for me about this afternoon is just the actual colors and the sky and the smells. I mean, it's a beautiful summer afternoon. I don't know if everyone can see just all these interesting clouds and the beautiful, oh yes, nice job Ferg as always. And this has actually been my favorite part of this afternoon. It is so relaxed out here at the moment. Summer vibes indeed. I'm just gonna stop here. We've got the wind has picked up, and there's just some really beautiful cloud formations. It's gonna be a stunning, an absolutely stunning sunset tonight. I hope we get that for you. David, that's a good question. If Safari Live were to expand across the world to other places, where would I go? Look, the Pantanal would be super interesting. And if I had to live somewhere else other than South Africa and do what I'm doing now, I don't know, I would probably still be in Africa. I would actually really like to go to Madagascar. I think that would be really interesting. And see lemurs and fosses and all those big beautiful baobabs. Nikki's saying me too. That, or the other day, Ferg's also saying that would be very good. The other day we were talking about how one of you was going to be going to Mana Pools on holiday, and Nikki and Ferg and I were all saying that it was top of our list. And I actually would like to do Safari Live from Mana Pools, especially because there's all of that game viewing on foot there. It's very interesting. Not that we don't get views of beautiful wildlife here on foot, but there's just a little bit of a different vibe that side, and it's a little bit more open. So yeah, I think Madagascar and I think Mana Pools. I mean, my favorite place other than where I am right now in the Lowveld is South Luangwa National Park in Zambia. So for 6 months out of the year, that would be my ultimate top choice. But where I like to be in the north there, of the southern park, is only open because of the type of soil they have for sometimes only 5 months out of the year, so it would be like half there. So we could do half the year, or 4 or 5 months, let's say, in Zambia, and then a couple of months in Mana Pool, and then a couple of months in Madagascar, and bounce around. But that's only if I couldn't live in South Africa, because this would always be my top choice. Djuma. That is for sure. Where would you all like to see us go? Are there spots that any of you really would like to see myself, or Scotty, or James, or Tristan, or Jamie, or Brent, or Taylor, or Ralph? And where in the world would you be keen to have Safari Live go? That's what I want to know. I saw that Battleur, Ferg, but I'm not sure. There's a Battleur that just flew off the ground. I'm not sure if we'll manage to get him. Let's have a look and see. We did have that nesting parrot. Oh, there he is. Okay, it's a bit far off, but I am going to do my best. So at 9 o'clock on top of that dead tree just over there. So let's see if we manage. Our zoom is incredible, but there's also a point where when we do get in there, sometimes it's just not the quality that we love to show you. So I think we've actually hit that point on the zoom, but you can see the shape of the head and the shape of the beak. The colors are a little bit off. I'm hoping that the mate will be a little bit closer, because this light is stunning, and if we can get a view of the mate there. So I think what we'll do is we'll just sort of slowly meander forward and keep an eye out.
The mate there.
Did you find the mate? No. Shame. So Ferg's got his eye in the eye hole. He's like, is that the mate there, Ferg? That is a European roller. Oh, Ferg was being facetious. I'm very gullible, Ferg. We've discussed this. You can't play jokes with me. Oh, there's the mate at 3 o'clock inside that marula tree. Can you see? Of course you can. Thank you, Ferg. So there we can see the colors on this one. It's still a bit far off, but we can see the colors nicely, that orangey red on the beak and on the feet as well. Now, the tree that they were busy building their nest in is not far from here, but if both of the parents are out, then obviously no one's going to be at the nest. I think maybe I must remind myself, or you must all remind me tomorrow, we must come and have a look at that Battleur's nest and see if they've managed to lay an egg or possibly fledge a fledgling, because it's been a while since we were there. And as many of you know, this is my favorite bird of prey, the beautiful Battleur. Now, James Richard, you had asked to see Gymnogene again, I think 2 days ago, so I will try and find you Gymnogene, an African harrier hawk, as we're meandering about. I still haven't found you your Christmas butterfly. Oh, shame. Nikki's saying that my comment about where would you like to see all of us go has caused quite a stir, and there's a lot of comments coming through about where you all would like to be. So Nikki's just filtering through some. So I think, okay, Mia, you're agreeing with Madagascar. Dale and Monique, you would like us to go to India for tigers? Ooh, that's a good one. Lady Starfire and Sabi, you want to do the Amazon? Yep, the Amazon and the Pantanal, beautiful area. Pink dolphins in the Amazon, that would be epic. And capybaras. JC, you say the Australian outback. Good call. Kangaroos, koalas, and those huge, what are those lizards? The goannas. I would love to see a goanna. And then, I'm sorry, your last one there, Nick, did you say it was Judy? Judy, you want to go see the gorillas. Judy, the gorillas are also on top of my list. I'm going to throw another spanner in the works here. I would like to get some sort of underwater camera and go do whale sharks off the coast of Mozambique. I'm throwing that one in there. So let's not put ourselves in boxes. Let's really go outside the box. So I would throw that one in there. And then I actually would like a cam that is somewhere near the penguins that are on Betty's Beach or Boulder's Beach and getting a little penguin action. But kind of like we have the dam cam, similar to that. Oh my goodness, we could go so far. Like Graham and Emily, I'm going to get an email later from Graham and Emily going, stop making all these suggestions, where will we go? Shame. Now, Graham and Em have, as far as I can see, have some really big ideas, and most of their ideas seem to be working. I mean, we are in the Mara, and we are in Djuma together at once, so look, there's big things happening. It's super exciting. Oh, I'm just thinking, so could you imagine in one show we would have Djuma, Mara, Madagascar with lemurs and fossas, maybe the Amazon with some pink dolphins, the Pantanal with some jaguars. Could you imagine that's what we would see in a show? It would be absolutely crazy. India with the tigers. Nuts. The comprehension behind it, it's boggling my mind right now. I'm getting super excited. But we'll just have to wait and see. Everything takes time and everything happens for a reason at the time that it does. So we'll just have to be patient and then also get the word out about Safari Live. And again, we've had lots of new viewers joining us in the past couple days. So if any of you are out there and haven't said hello, we'd like to say hello to you. And don't forget, you can send through your questions and comments, hashtag Safari Live on the Twitter or on the YouTube chat. Or if maybe you came to us after the action broadcast with Ralph and you saw it on one of the social media platforms there, here we are. We're on YouTube every day, twice a day. Oh, sorry, that was a bump I didn't see. I don't want to lose Ferg off the back. Ferg's raising his hand. He says he's still here. Kathy, you're also getting super excited and saying you think all the suggestions are great. Yeah, it is exciting. It's exciting to think about, especially if for those of you that have been with us since the beginning. I mean, you've seen how we've grown and what we've done. Sorry, there's something in a tree and it's very far off, but I just want to have a look with the binos and then Ferg will be... We were binos with me. Oh, it is in fact a vulture. I thought so. Just sitting there nicely. Earlier I got out of the vehicle and was walking around a little bit while you guys were with Ralph up in the Mara because we had some vultures sitting down. I was convinced there was possibly something dead there. But they flew off a little bit and then they never came back and I couldn't find or smell or hear anything. So sadly that was for naught. But this vulture is most likely sitting up in there. It might have a nest nearby, this white-backed vulture, or it's just because it's getting a little bit darker and starting to cool down and this is where it's going to perch for the evening. Alrighty, off we go on our beautiful little afternoon meander. Ooh, Annie, you say what about Antarctica? And Annie, you've actually hit my no-go area because it's cold. I don't like the cold. Like when it rains here and it's chilly in the summer, I wear 6 layers. So I'm sure there's some amazing footage we could get down there, and I'm sure there would be a presenter or two who would want to do it, but that's way too cold for my liking. Ferg says he'll go. Alright, Ferg, you can go. Ferg will go and wrap himself in 100 layers, but I do think that would be pretty amazing. I actually wouldn't mind going someplace with whales. There's a place that I went to many years ago on the western coast of Mexico where the gray whales birth their babies. It's this little sort of inlet area. It was the most amazing experience, so that I think would be really neat. But I think for the underwater ideas that we're going with, I mean, that water would have to be pretty clear with the camera work, and that water that I'm remembering from there was quite murky. So I think we're going to need to stick to the sort of Tofu or Borneo or wherever the crystal clear waters are. Could you imagine a whale shark live? That would be absolutely incredible. Kathy would like to know what South African raptor most closely resembles the American bald eagle, and that would be the African fish eagle, Kathy. Ferg and I got an amazing sighting of one a few weeks ago with the blue sky in the background sort of drying its wings out. That would be the African fish eagle, as we said. Very similar looking. It'd be hard to tell them apart. Sometimes it's hard enough to tell them apart in sort of sculptures and things. I was at a little self-catering place with some friends of mine a couple of months ago, and they had what my friends were going, oh, look at that beautiful carving of a fish eagle, and I was looking at it, I was going, that's not a fish eagle, it's an American bald eagle. So the confusion does happen from time to time. You're saying that, I believe you said it was a friend of yours that had incredible views of orcas and blue whales breaching. Kokosai, I'm so jealous. I have never seen an orca in the wild. I desperately want to see an orca. The only time I've seen one when I was little, and for some reason my parents thought that going to one of those aqua amusement parks was going to float my boat, and I remember seeing this thing and it had like a bent over fit, and I cried. So since then I really want to see orcas breaching, but I also want to see them when they are hunting seals and flipping the seals up in the air and then pushing them up. I think that display is absolutely fantastic. That, and I really want to get down to see the great white sharks on the South African coast over there near Hans Bay, doing that near Seal Island. I think those predatory actions by both the orca and the great white shark are absolutely amazing maneuvering. I think our list is just getting longer and longer. I don't think we've managed to shorten this list to a top few. I think we're just expanding immensely. Muldoon is asking Ferg, what is the maximum zoom on the camera? Did I get that correct, Ferg?
20 times optical zoom.
Ferg says it's a 20 times optical zoom.
But with a digital crop in, because it's got such a big sensor.
With a digital crop in, because it has such a big sensor.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's why you sometimes see a jump when I'm zooming.
And he says that's why you sometimes see a jump when he's zooming in. There. I like it. Maybe we should turn the camera on you, Ferg, for a little bit. You can wear my hat and put the microphone on. I'll work the camera.
I'm a mystery.
Shame. So, I found a nice little spot. It's a little bit early for a sunset, but where the cloud cover is coming through, those colors are going to start showing now. Ferg is just busy sliding himself over. We've got this U-shaped seat in the back, so Ferg just sort of goes around and around. So I thought you all might like to see that. And we actually have some louder bird calls around us now. So we tried our moment of silence earlier, but it wasn't really panning out, unfortunately. So I think maybe let's try it now and see what we can capture. see just in, that short minute that we just did there, just how much the colors are changing as that sun's going behind the clouds. I actually think I'm going to sit here for a little while, and we'll just maybe see. Oh, that's gorgeous. Thanks, Ferg. Look at that. This is what we're viewing this afternoon, everybody. And this, we get to see a lot of amazing wildlife, but sometimes just these views are the best feeling and what you remember the most out of a safari. And there's the beautiful moon. It should be full moon in a few days. All right, well, while we are waiting for these colors to transform, to be able to give you a gorgeous sunset, I think let's head back over to Scott, who's busy waiting. He's busy waiting for Tingana to pop up, so hopefully it pops up soon.
Yes, we are waiting patiently here. We decided to loop ahead of Tingana in the hope that by looping ahead we'll be able to stay with him once he crosses through this little riverbed. But it sounds like he found, as you can see, it's very, very thick. But the problem is that it sounds like he got waylaid. He found some Inyala to stalk. I'm fairly certain it's Inyala that he was stalking because I just heard their telltale alarm call. Kind of like a dog barking. And I'm guessing now that they've detected him, he is going to continue on his pathway, which should lead him somewhere into this area. And I'm hoping we get one more view of him before the safari comes to a close, but I fear we may not be so lucky. Gianni, you'd like to know if I've ever had an animal scent mark on the vehicle, and no, I haven't had an animal scent mark on the vehicle. I think it's a trait that domestic dogs have picked up, but not the big cats of Africa. You'll sadly never be able to hear that, but I just pointed out of kind of instinct and reaction, and he just let off his rasping vocalization. But it was a little bit of a way off, and I don't think it's going to be likely for our mic to pick up his audio from this distance. There's also a little bit of a wind swirling, so I don't know if we are going to be so lucky. So now we continue to sit and wait. It sounds like he could be veering a little bit more to the east, which means we'd have to loop around again to get in front of him. But I fear that time is just simply not on our side. This evening, how much time we got? Oh no, there's not much time. Oh, James Richards, you're wondering what was my surprise that I was hoping to show you guys this morning before the rain started. It was a chameleon, and we were hoping on actually showing it to you in the rain. We drove past it and it was taking a few drinks of the droplets of water on the leaves, but we were simply getting far too wet to risk being out any longer, and I think Ralph had just found some lions or something exciting was happening up in the Mara. So, and obviously we bumped into Tingana this afternoon. But the good news is I know which tree that chameleon is in, and it's unlikely that it would have moved off today. They usually hang around in the same tree for quite some time before they move off. So what I'll do is tomorrow I'll head across there and we'll spend some time with that chameleon during the day. Thanks for reminding me, James. Okay. Trying to listen to see if I can hear the other vehicle that was actually following Tingana on the other side of the riverbed. He was going to follow him up to this point where vehicles cannot cross, and then my plan was to help re-establish the sighting. So, seeing as though I don't think our maneuver has been the right one, we shall send you off to Noel for the last few minutes of the safari. Thanks for all the fun and contributions. We will see you all tomorrow.
Sorry sorry about that, Scotty D, but we did get some really great visuals of Tingana with you, so thank you, thank you, thank you. We can actually see the Drakensberg Mountains today for the first time in a very long time. Now, Ferg is focusing on, I don't know if you can see on top of that little plateau there, those little things sticking out, that's where our signal comes from. That is a Mariskop, that's the tallest part of our end of the Drakensberg. We're at the very, very, very north of the Drakensberg, and so that's how we're able to transmit to you, is because of that very large antenna that's up there. It's also a gorgeous hiking area. I've gone hiking up there many a time, and it's absolutely stunning. Now, I'm digging these colors that are popping out with those light colored blues and the mauves and the slightly peachy pink, and a little bit of orange poking out from the clouds here. Ferg and I have been having a little debate as to whether or not we think this sunset's going to work out the way that we want it to, but I just think that this is absolutely stunning regardless. And all of the colors are starting to change now. That sun is just dipping behind that very large cloud cover that's coming up over the mountains. See those? Oh, gorgeous. That sort of sherbet orange color. And then there's beautiful yellows coming through. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on another wonderful safari out here in the African bushveld from the Mara, and also here from Djuma in South Africa in the Sabi sands. I think for our last little bit together, we are going to stare nicely into the sunset, and you all can enjoy that. I think I'm going to go slightly quiet after I say thank you from myself and Ferg and Scott and Senzo and Taylor and Ralph and everyone in the FC and the tech guys in control room.